Good morning and welcome to Focus. I'm Craig Cohen. In recent weeks, this program has dedicated hours to providing you a chance to speak directly with candidates in two important races, the 13th Congressional District race and the 52nd State Senate race. And today's guest is the Republican running for Congress in Illinois' 13th District. Rodney Davis was born in Des Moines, Iowa. His family moved to Taylorville, Illinois when he was 7. He has made that town his home ever since. He is a graduate of Millikan University in Decatur, and while he's never held elective office in the 1990s, he worked for then Secretary of State George Ryan. In recent years, he's worked for Congressman John Shimkus, including a stint as the Congressman's projects director. Mr. Davis became the Republican nominee when Congressman Tim Johnson announced his plans to retire, a decision the longtime congressman made public only after the primary last spring. Republican Party officials selected Davis to run for the newly drawn 13th District, where he faces two other candidates, Democrat David Gill, who appeared on this program last week, and Independent John Hartman, who was on this show last month. The three men are seeking to represent a district that covers a lot of territory and winds its way through east central Illinois westward all the way to areas in the metro east of St. Louis. Among the cities included in the 13th District are Champaign-Urbana, Bloomington-Normal, Decatur, Springfield, the metro east communities of Collinsville and Edwardsville, and of course Taylorville, where Mr. Davis is from. Rodney Davis, welcome to Focus.
Thank you, Craig, very much. Thanks for having me today.
Glad to have you with us. And while I have much that I can ask Mr. Davis, ultimately the purpose of this hour is to give you the chance to question him directly. And I hope you will do so by phone at 333-9455 or 800-222-9455. Or you can email us at will-talk@illinois.edu. The phone number again, 333-WILL or 800-222-WILL. We also welcome questions on our Facebook page. You can also tweet us. Our Twitter handle is Will Public Media. As we await some calls and emails, I think it's always instructive for voters to learn a little bit about each candidate's life outside of the political arena, just to sort of get a sense of who you are, where you come from. What brought your family from Des Moines, Iowa, the land of corn and life insurance companies, to Taylorville, Illinois?
Well, you know, I grew up for 7 years of my life in Des Moines, Iowa, so I really didn't see a lot of corn. I saw a lot of activity. Yeah. So it was somewhat of a culture shock at age 7, moving from Des Moines, Iowa to Taylorville, a town of 12,000 at the time. But my family, my mom and dad grew up in a lower middle-class neighborhood in Des Moines, Iowa. High school graduate, my dad, and my mom got her GED. My dad started working at the very first McDonald's restaurant in Des Moines, Iowa in 1958, early 59, and worked his way up. Instead of going to work at other factories or other in other professions, he decided he wanted to stay in that business, worked his way up to manager and regional supervisor. And when he was 34 in 1977, McDonald's offered him an opportunity to own his own franchise. And he was able to pick Taylorville, Illinois, and moved us when I was in second grade to Taylorville. And it's been a great opportunity to stay there, live there, grow up there, and also raise my family there.
What is your first recollection, or what recollections do you have about that move? When you're 7, you're maybe just old enough to have really a sense of this is a significant something that's happening here. My world is changing. What do you remember about it?
Well, I remember hopping in the van and taking the 6-hour drive from Des Moines to Taylorville. But I remember getting there and going out to a house that we were going to rent. It was out in a rural area, so I was interested in seeing a pond and in other rural things, being a city kid. I remember getting out, and all of a sudden my mom coming out saying, "Nope, we're not moving in here." She saw a few bugs.
Okay.
So instead, we went to the other side of town, which is not far in Taylorville, and we rented a duplex on the west side, which happened to be the same neighborhood that I ended up growing up in. And ironically, if I would have stayed at that first house, I would have been neighbors with my wife.
Really?
Yes.
Next door, physically, or real
well,
close?
there's not really many houses that are close, so it was close enough to be around on a regular basis. So I always say the bugs that my mom saw saved my marriage. If she never would have married me, if we would have been living next to each other.
If she had known you that young.
Exactly. But I remember that. I remember getting excited when they said, "Well, this duplex isn't going to be ready, so we're going to stay in a motel." I'm thinking, "Oh, great, swimming pools." Yeah. I realized then that, the hotels in Taylorville start with the letter M. And
it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and the closest thing to a swimming pool was